The price of giving is always receiving. So, why doesn't that work in our relationships? Good question. Let me explain the energetic mechanics, and then you'll never get lost here. And you will receive. You ever notice when you're in a bit of a funk and your friend or your parent or someone says, "You got this, it'll be fine," and you don't believe them? You don't feel better. Your energy hasn't lifted, which is an indication of you feeling better, extracted from the pain point. Why is that? Because words alone don't transmit a feeling. They don't alter anything on the inside for you. So when someone hasn't gone further than your immediate situation and they're telling you intellectually to calm you down, but there's no backup, your nervous system doesn't feel a complete energy that matches those words. Because if it was, your nervous system would eat that up, would feel at ease, would already go to the point of that which they mastered, and it would be like a quantum leap internally, so you'd be at ease. Because the feeling of accomplishing that which is difficult for you, getting through this, leaving the person, getting onto something new, has already been transmitted into your field. You feel that, therefore you can believe that. This is also why, for those that can afford elaborate gifts this Christmas, that it may not be met with what you expected. Let me explain. If it was a chore to buy something for your brother because they hurt you so much, if it was agony to spend, of which you have to put your stuff on hold in order to give your best friend or your boyfriend or your colleague or your family, if every time they've hurt you, you've distanced yourself, and then you two got together, but internally nothing changed because the silence between each other and both triggered by it and both afraid to be lonely, that was the override for the injury, which never got to be solved, felt, seen, which means it'll happen again in some other way that triggers it. So when you buy for this person, there's animosity attached to the gift. You see, joy is a sneaky bugger. It slides in very easily. But when there is animosity, resentment, resistance, that doesn't slide in so easily into your system. It's not received. Have you ever noticed those type of people in your life who say something and you're listening, and then they're like, "That was a joke." And you're like, "Okay." And they reiterate, "That's funny," to convince you of humor that is not humorous to you, making you feel like, if you are not solidified, like there's something wrong with you. When natural humor doesn't need an announcement, just like goodness and true love doesn't need an announcement. The energy of that hits people first, and then they embrace it, take it in, almost held hostage by the goodness. That's why when you're looking at someone, you don't even have to say a word. You can just look at them and say, that was a lot that just happened to you. Now, that was not uplifting. That was being seen. But do you notice how even in that is strengthening? Because my energy said, yes, that was a lot, but it's not stopping there. Story's not over. The war is not over. So when you are in a relationship and you give your time, your energy, your affection, and your attention, but underneath it all is lack of what they didn't give you. So in truth, you doubled up to give them more attention, affection, emotion, love, money, energy, in order to switch them on to give you something. But it never works like that because your energy isn't over the top. You're not giving the excess. You're also not giving the excess because you are depleted and giving from nothing. And so that's why you don't get it back, because you're starving. Starving gets starving. Here's what never misses. This season of festivities, give authentically what you feel for them, and that won't miss. It could be in writing, it could be something small, it could be something huge, but it would need first to make you ecstatic that you're getting it for them to have that hit them. So even if it's someone you don't know that you may have a soft spot for, that you may want to introduce yourself, that's big ball action. People of high integrity will always respect that, provided it's authentic and it's not to introduce to take, but it's introduced to up level, to give. Energies can't hide. They can't lie. And they don't die. So when giving to another human being, you better be filled to the brim in your heart, not disappointed, not scared, not need to, not, I have all this other resentment towards them. None of that will pierce their veil. None of that. Authenticity is the purest energy, because authenticity is love. It's all of who you are. You can't miss.